Okay, hello guys. Um, I'm 1 minute early, but that's okay. I'm just gonna. This is all new to me, like being live. I was live once when I um, first started the channel, and then, yeah, now is the second time. I wrote some notes, a lot of notes, just so I remember what I'm gonna say and in what order, and I might freak out in the live maybe. So I have my notes with me. I'm sorry. Okay. 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 So the title of this um, of this live is Inside the Mind of a Dark Triad. Investigating Donna Adelson's behavior. So I'm gonna talk a little bit in this video about the Dark Triad and how did I get to this point? How did I think? What was my thought process? So I got to this point that, okay, I think it's a Dark Triad phenomenon or whatever they call it, you know? So, okay, let me pull out. Okay, so in this video, we'll be taking a deep dive into Donna Adelson's personality traits. When I first started researching her behavior, I created a bingo card to identify her narcissistic traits, and you're gonna see the bingo card a little bit later in the stream. We're gonna do it anyways, but this is how it started. It started as I had an idea to do a bingo card of Donna Adelson's behaviors, traits, narcissism, whatever you want to call it, and like to play it on live stream. And then while researching for that, while doing that, it led me to another place. It's not narcissism anymore. It's much more than that. And it's not psychopathy only. It's much more than that. It's the Dark Triad. What is the Dark Triad? Let me tell you. So let me read a little bit from my notes just because I want to remember everything I want to say. Let me start just like that. Okay. So the Dark Triad is a term used to describe a combination of Machiavellianism, narcissism, and psychopathy. And it perfectly captures the complex and sinister nature of Donna's behavior. So let me show you, just a second. Wait, anyway, just let me continue. So I will be trying to explain to you my thought process in this live. That being said, I want to do a disclaimer before we begin that this video is only about my personal opinions, my own research, my own speculations. I am not a mental health professional, so this video shouldn't be taken as a diagnosis or in any way, shape or form. I'm just talking, and based on freedom of speech, I chose to talk about this case. Anything I talk about is just me and my personal opinions, that's all. And I encourage everyone watching to always do their own research before taking a side or whatever. do your own research. So, the term Dark Triad refers to a trio of negative personality traits: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. Just a second. So people with these traits tend to be callous, manipulative, willing to do or say practically anything to get their way. They have an inflated they have an inflated view of themselves and are often shameless about self-promotion. These individuals are likely to be impulsive and may engage in dangerous behavior, in some cases even committing crimes, without any regard for how their actions affect others. So, okay. So, as we knew already, the Dark Triad is a combination between three traits, major traits, which is narcissism, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the Machiavellianism component of it. How did I get to this word? It first started that it first started when I came across a word which is amoral. When I read about this word amoral and what it means, it fits perfectly in Donna's description or behavior. I find her to be very much amoral, and there is a difference between amoral people and immoral people. It's not the same thing. Amoral is like a pattern of behaviors that the person doesn't even like passes through his mind more anything related to morals, values, ethics, what's good or right. These things that I'm talking about are not existent to this person, so to the amoral person. So okay, and then I realized that there are different types of amoral behavior. One of these is Machiavellianism. So amoral could be a lot of types, and one of the type is Machiavellianism. So it says here it's absence of moral principles or the indifference to moral values. Essentially, an amoral person is someone who does not think about morality or ethics when making decisions or taking actions. Okay. Machiavellianism, on the other hand, is a strategy, mindset that prioritizes the attainment of power and control over others. You see what's the difference? Machiavellianism is like a plan, like the person does a plan to get what they want, and in this plan, they are willing to break ethics, morals, ta 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 ta. But the amoral person is just a person that not necessarily guided by a moral sense of right or wrong, or at least that's how I understood it. So Machiavellians are often seen as cunning, manipulative, and willing to do whatever it takes to achieve their goals, even if it means breaking moral or ethical codes, yes. So the distinctive difference between amoral behavior and Machiavellianism is that amoral behavior is a lack of consideration for morality, while Machiavellianism is a deliberate strategy or mindset focused on achieving power and control. See the difference? The amoral person is just not thinking about morals. He's not there, you know? He doesn't care about morals maybe. But the Machiavellian would go out of their way to make a plan, to make a strategy, to attack others, or not necessarily attack others, but to harm or to do um, unethical things, you know. So, and then after I read that there is a difference between amoral and Machiavellianism, and because I was confused at first. So, okay, I understood what's amoral, I understood what is Machiavellianism, but I just don't understand which one is Donna. Is she this or this? And then I thought, of course, it's Machiavellianism. I mean, I think in every aspect of her life, every day, every aspect of her life, she's always, always behaving like this. She has absolutely no sense of morality, ethics, and this is not just and this I did not get to this result. I did not get to this conclusion just by, you know, one day. I came to this conclusion because um, because I forgot what I was gonna say. I'm sorry. Because not only because of the crime that she committed or she may have committed, but also because she was doing that even before the murder, like in her everyday life with her children, with the divorce battle, how she treated the divorce battle, how was her role in the divorce battle, you know. And we talk a lot about how manipulative she is and no morals, no ethics, ta 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 ta. Um, yeah, so there's actually one thing that made me for sure realize that she has Machiavellianism, which is just a second, which is that she claims that she loves her grandsons, and she claims that they share a very good bond and a very warm family, ta ta ta. So, despite claiming to share great affection to her grandsons, as she was convincing Wendi in one email, she was telling her, like, this is what. Billy? No. So she was telling Wendi, like, this is how you should convince the judge. One of the things that would convince the judge for her to relocate were, up to Donna's mind, were the fact that um, oh yes, that that the boys would have a great life with them because they share great affection with them and ta ta ta. So, despite claiming that, she consciously took a decision to end the life of their father. She took it. She made a choice. She made a decision, a conscious one, a very. It was a very. She had so many chances to stop this, yet she did not stop this. She was very. Um, she was very sure of what she's doing, of what she wants to do to Dan. Um, so, despite her claiming having great affection to them, she did not care even 1% about unaliving their father. And, like, didn't she think about them? They don't cross her mind at all. So, yeah. So, I think let's start watching the video and let's start commenting on it. Okay.
Obviously, it will sound good to Judge Hobbs. She goes to church, donations from her church pastors and ministers on her financial contributions website. She's a Southern black lady. How do you know it won't be music to her ears to hear this? Obviously, the court isn't out to help you. It's clear since Judge Hobbs' last ruling that she could care less about anything you had to say in your behalf. You need to help yourself. You know, Wendi, most of the wars that have been fought for the last couple of thousands of years have been over religion. Charlie brought up a good point when he said Americans were dropped behind enemy lines during World War II wearing Nazi uniforms to get what they wanted. They had a job to get done, and they did what they needed to do to accomplish it. You have a job to get done in a very short time frame to accomplish it. If you dressed your kids up in Hitler Youth uniforms and brought them down here, I could care less if it was an act of defiance and would show Gibbers that he's not in control. If your children are baptized, it doesn't make them Christian. Ben and Lincoln aren't really pirates because they dress up like Jake the pirate. It's an act. When you intelligently negotiate in mediation, you, quote, pretend, unquote, you want a house even if you don't.
You see what she's saying here? When you intelligently do the negotiation, so that's considered intelligent up to Donna. Up to Donna, cheating in a negotiation or coming into a negotiation with a manipulation mindset, with deception, is intelligent. And the contrary of that, which is coming with a good heart, with a good mind, with a good intention to a negotiation to finish this with peace. You know, when the peace is the thing that they want from the negotiation, um, it's weak for Donna. It's weak. It's not intelligent. It's stupid. It's stupid to be moral up to Donna. She's shaming Wendi, in my opinion, she's shaming Wendi for wanting to be at peace. So, yeah, so Machiavellianism views morality as a liability, as it can lead to hesitation, indecision, and ultimately failure. Okay, so yeah, so when we talk about Machiavellianism, as I said, they see people, moral people, as weak and ineffective. They are not willing to employ the tactics necessary to achieve their goals. Okay, so and I think it shows in here in this particular sentence. It shows how much she is immoral, especially when at first she was talking about Judge Hobbs, like it's gonna be music to her ears for her to listen that she was that Wendi was going to church and loving Jesus just because Judge Hobbs is a devout Christian and loves the church and goes to church and ta ta ta. So in like that's how Donna thinks. Donna doesn't have like I don't know how to explain it more. Like even when thinking about other people, when she's thinking about other people, she thinks that everybody is thinks just like her. Everybody has no morals, no values, no she it doesn't even cross her mind, I think, that the judge should be ethical, and this is like the first very, very obvious rule or regulation about being a judge is being that's his job. He was appointed in this job just because they found that um, he could not get affected personally by people presenting their cases to him. Number one rule is you set aside, as a judge, you set aside your beliefs, whether it's religious, whether it's spiritual, whatever it is, your beliefs and what you think, you set them aside and you rule by the justice. But of course, I don't think it will ever cross her mind that people actually function this way. there are people that function in a good way in life, Donna. It's not like everyone's like you. Anyway, let's continue.
Pretend you want the car, even if you don't. You pretend you want the ring, even if you don't care. You pretend you want the kids in Catholic school, even if you don't. It's just a business of clever negotiation, underlined. It's not what you or we are familiar with, but people in business do it all the time. Both attorneys have said that this is how you get what you want.
Okay, so we have already covered the first trait, the Machiavellianism. In my opinion, it's covered because we already passed through all the why I think she has it. So one is done, and the second thing we're gonna do is we're gonna play this bingo game, Donna Adelson Narcissism Bingo. I'm gonna show you some clips that I have edited and put together. So each word in here has multiple clips, or maybe one clip or two clips, whatever it is, yani. So I'm gonna show you these, and we're gonna pause at each segment to guess which one is this. Okay, let's start. Okay, so the first slide is a part in a paragraph in Ruth Markel's book, The Unveiling. It says, just a second. It was with Donna by her side, mother and daughter scrolling together. Donna liked to be involved in every aspect of her daughter's life. Cracks in Dan and Wendy's marriage started to become more obvious to us by 2011. So this is the first slide. Keep this in mind when she's like, Ruth knew how much Donna is involved in Wendy's life. Okay. So the next thing is
Money. Okay. Your attorney must depot Elvis to see if any of the retirement accounts that Elvis has ever had a check written from them during the course of your marriage, if any of them were funded through any joint assets, your mutual Schwab account, or in any way passed through joint financial accounts, then you are entitled to a portion of those accounts. Even if nothing was ever done improperly on these accounts, and he has some very large retirement accounts, let's aggravate him the way he's trying to aggravate you, and make him do the research and show statements from every month, all caps, from the date of your marriage to the date of the filing of the divorce. You need to see whatever he deposited into those accounts where the money came from. It's very possible some of it came from your joint Schwab account, and then he's up Schitt's Creek. Why shouldn't he have to do this? It's what I mentioned to Kristen in court yesterday, and she nodded her head. Now she needs to do something about it.
okay. So what do you think this is? Let's see. Just a second. Can you see the...
Yesterday, and she nodded her head.
Can you... Okay, there's something wrong. Just a second. I'm so sorry. Because
Now Now she needs to do something about
Can
it.
you... Why? Why it doesn't show? Okay, let me do this again. Just a second, okay? Just a second. I'm so sorry.
I mentioned to Kristen in court yesterday, and she nodded her head. Now she needs to do something about it.
Okay, so what do you think this is? Let's see. Hi, Bruce. Hi, Rita. This is not Judy. This is, yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Judy, the YouTube lawyer, for letting me always use her videos. And actually, these specific videos that I'm using over here are perfect for this stream because Judy has a very good way of imitating Donna, how she talks. Like she has a good acting skills, in my opinion. So, okay, first thing, enmeshment, lack of empathy, intellectual superiority, emotional manipulation, projection, secret coercion, guilt tripping, power struggle, malicious envy, deflection, verbal abuse, transactional behavior, parental alienation, spiritual abuse, grandiosity. Can you guess? Can you guess which one could this be? Okay, I'm gonna tell you. It is, let's see. It is enmeshment. So, what is enmeshment? Let's talk a little bit about enmeshment, okay? Enmeshment is a dysfunctional pattern. It happens when a parent and a child become overly involved and intertwined in each other's lives. And I think these two clips, one clip and the other one is Ruth passage in the book, are enough to tell us how much there's enmeshment in Donna and Wendy's relationship. Not only that, but there's so many people, when asked, they tell you about how unhealthy and weird their relationship is. Jeffrey Lacasse, when asked on the cross examination if they were close, if Donna and Wendy, or if Wendy and her parents were close, he said extremely. He did not even say, he did not only say yes they are close. He emphasized on the word extremely close. While when Wendy asked, she'll tell you, compared to other people, I don't know. Really? Like, really? Really? So that's the first. So that's the first um, trait. let's continue with the second trait. Let's try to guess the second trait.
The ability for our children to spend quality time with my parents and my mother, a retired elementary school teacher, would be a huge bonus to our children's academic and social progress. In my parents' home, each child currently has and would continue to have their own rooms with appropriate beds, furniture, books, and toys. Who would have thought after paying an attorney $600 per hour for 10 months, she would take an hour and a half of testimony, not even bother calling gibbers to the stand, and decide that family support for very young children evidently means nothing, and a job that pays 10 times what your unsecured, untenured, and dependent upon state budget cuts job pays in Tallahassee will be just fine for your children. Does she care that after expenses you'll save next to nothing at the end of a year? Does she care that very little, if anything, will be put away for the children for their current and future education? Does she care that extracurricular activities, sports, trips, eating out in restaurants will always be a financial challenge for you to provide for the boys? Clearly, she did not take into consideration the future earning potential and benefit for your children. She didn't care that there's no backup support system when one of your preschoolers is sick. All she cared about was if the father hasn't been pulling out their toenails. You should give up any financial betterment for you and your children and raise them in a place that you agreed to go to.
So what is this? I showed you two clips. What trait are these two clips? In my opinion, it is... Wait. Okay, get back. Okay, in my opinion, it is intellectual superiority. What is intellectual superiority? Let's read the definition of it, okay? Where is this? Okay, I'm sorry. People with this trait believe that they are intellectually superior to others and have an inflated sense of their own intelligence and abilities. Unfortunately, this can lead to a lack of empathy for others' opinions and an unwillingness to consider different perspectives, and a tendency to dismiss or belittle the views of others. So we can see her when she's belittling the lawyer of Wendi for, I don't know, she's always attacking her. And I think it's because Donna thinks that she is smarter than the lawyer, honestly. I think that she has this intellectual superiority and she thinks she's way smarter than everybody else. Like, she can be the lawyer if she had a license. She could do a better job probably if she had a license. I bet you that this is how she thinks. And also, not only that, but did you hear her when she was saying it would be a great benefit for the kids to be with my mom because she's a former elementary teacher, and it would be a benefit for them academically and Academically, maybe, I don't know. I don't want to say anything because I don't know how academically, but I know ethically it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a huge problem, and my heart hurts for these boys, really. I'm not kidding. My heart hurts physically when I think about these boys. Anyway, so yes, the second one is intellectual superiority. We got this one. Okay, and now third one.
Grandma was one tough and very smart lady. I think about her all the time. And I think about what advice this very intelligent woman, a wonderful, quote, reader of people, unquote, who loved you more than words could ever express, would say to you. She'd tell you to fight with every bone in your body, ! Fight for yourself, your boys, and for the best possible life you can have.
Okay. So, the first clip was for this trait that we still don't know what it is, but the first clip was her saying to Wendi, basically saying about her own mother. So Wendi's grandma, what she would say if she was alive to Wendi, to fight with every bone in her and ta 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 ta. And I found this a little bit strange. Not strange, but interesting, let's say, okay? Because uh, I think this is a common thing between narcissistic people or something, because they all. Just a second, where I was. Oh my God, I'm a mess today. I'm sorry,
And
guys.
I think about what advice this very intelligent.
Okay, here we go. So, this is something common between them all, the narcissistic people, that I noticed, which is they always praise extensively and in a, I don't know, kind of in a goddess way, their own parents. It could be something, it could be not, but so, okay, a trait commonly found in narcissistic individuals, which is grandiosity. Grandiosity is characterized by an inflated sense of self importance. It can also involve idealization and glorification of family members, as we've seen in the case. You see, so Donna idealized her mom, and okay, so let me continue actually. Why do I think that she idealizes her mom and that she praises her much more than it should, or what? I don't know, like it's too much glorification for her mom. For example, the following thing that I'm gonna read for you now is some remarks shared at christening of baby boy Markel. It's on a blog that I found online. I'll share at the end of the stream. I will put in the description everything that I said so you can check them out. So it says the Hebrew name Lev means heart in Hebrew, and it honors the memory of Wendy's beloved maternal grandmother Lorraine Jacobs, Donna Sue's mom. Grandma Lorraine and Wendi had an exquisitely close relationship, and it was always a profound regret that Grandma passed away 5 years before Wendi and Danny began dating. There is so much to say about her that we could spend literally hours sharing stories. Suffice it to say, Grandma Lorraine occupies a magical and persistent presence in Wendy's heart, and for that reason, and the unstinting love she showered upon her family, and especially Wendi, we have chosen to name our son with the Hebrew name Lev. We know that if Grandma were here today in person, she would be beaming with pride and joy for all that her granddaughter has done and become. We also know that right now, Grandma Lorraine is dancing with delight in the heavens above, and we take great comfort in sharing her sense of vitality and good humor with our son. So, I think Donna's mom is so much mentioned in everything that we like. She's mentioned everywhere. She's mentioned in the emails. She's mentioned in the cross examination because they ask her about did she remove the name from her boy, and she said yes. We lost honors for two families because it was so. I think this was the Lev that she removed, and now this I don't know. In my opinion, let's continue.
Of course, as a graduate of FSU Law School and a native of Tallahassee, she sees nothing wrong with living there. Obviously, as a native of South Florida, you know better.
And I think wrap this straight up. That you see her how she's um, talking about the lawyer. Obviously, she's from Tallahassee and FSU graduate. She's not gonna understand how it is living in Miami and how important it is and what's the difference of living in Miami. You, Wendi Adelson, lived in Miami and a native of Miami, you understand better. So how she put people in these boxes and how she classifies people based on money, power, and just it's disgusting. So this is grandiosity, in my opinion, and we have checked the grandiosity trait. Let's see the next trait.
Fight for yourself, Wendi. We'll be there to help you. Just don't tell us that what you need to do now is, quote, move forward with a sense of peace, unquote. That's giving up. I don't believe that's really what you want to do after all we've been through together. And when you're literally a few weeks from this being over, what's going to happen in June when he wants to go to 3 different conferences? Don't let him go. If you do, you're enabling and facilitating your stay in Tallahassee. You'll be showing him that anytime he has a meeting he wants to go to, that's fine. You'll watch the boys. You know his weak points: money, religion, control. You have 5 weeks before your court date. I know you have a job that keeps you very busy. However, the rest of your life, and consequently Dad's, mine, and yes, even Charlie's, will be affected by how well you can perform/act before July 31st. You can be a good actress when you want to. I've seen you in action. You need to put on the performance of your life. Wendi, you've been through a very difficult year. This is no longer in all caps. You had to make a huge decision. You did that. It was the right decision. Now you have one final opportunity to make him angry. We want him ticked off so he realizes that he could lose control over his kids. You have a little over 3 weeks till mediation. Let's get this going now. I know you would never want to think that you didn't do absolutely everything you could to try to come down to your family. Between living down here and having a job that will give your children the lifestyle they deserve, your life now and for sure in the future will be significantly better. Gary told us that he is not going to hire anyone until after your court hearing and after we try to make a financial offer to Gibbers. We're all willing to help you to accomplish this, and that's all it is, Wendi, an act of defiance that will put a scare into this jackass. You need to look into the future, what a life without your only family nearby, teaching in Tallahassee with Danny always in the picture, will give you. It's not a pretty picture. We want to see you help yourself. Not everything one has to do in life is comfortable or easy. Sometimes it's ridiculously hard. But Gibbers has tried to aggravate and screw you since day one of this divorce. Vicious emails, his defiance with Dr. Pam's directions on asking him not to come to the school every day when he doesn't have the boys, his not allowing you to pick the children up 1 hour earlier to drive to Atlanta, his bad-mouthing you to the faculty at the school you will be working at. Everything he does is done with malicious intent. Why can't you do this for a few days? You know him. You know which buttons to push.
So, okay, these were the clips in the emails. Now we're gonna read this. Before we left, Wendy's mother. This is a passage from Ruth Markel's The Unveiling, okay? Before we left, Wendy's mother, Donna, walked up to us, weeping almost uncontrollably. We'll make sure the boys have roots, she said between sobs, referring to the content of my speech. I promise. They were fine words. So in the funeral after Dan, in Dan's funeral, Ruth Markel made a speech, and she addressed the boys in the speech while doing the speech, and she said something in the lines of like something. I cannot remember, I cannot say, but something like to their roots, like we want the boys to know their roots, or Danny wanted the boys to know their roots. And Wendi and Donna came up to her, weeping, with no control. And she said, we'll make sure the boys have roots. What is this drama? Seriously, what is this drama? How can she be? I mean, how can someone be like that? I don't know. But yeah. Just a second, so I see what's okay. So these are the clips, and this is the thing. This is, in my opinion, emotional manipulation. This was all about emotional manipulation. This thing that we just, this segment that we just saw, and it's fascinating because in this small segment, there's so many forms of emotional manipulation, so many. But let's take the emotional manipulation and then let's talk a little bit about it. I'm gonna be reading a little bit of my notes just because I wanna remember my ideas. So it becomes clear that Donna exhibits several forms of emotional manipulation. So, yes, one example of it is when she tells Wendi not to ask for peace. Just keep on fighting and just don't tell me. That's how she tells her. Don't tell me that you want to move from this with a sense of peace. That's quitting or something like that. You realize what is this? This is invalidation. This is a form of emotional manipulation. When someone in front of me, I'm telling him, I need peace. I want peace. And they tell you, nope, that's not what you want. I know you better than you know yourself, and that's not what you want. I know you're a fighter and you're not a quitter, and this is weak, and that's not a correct feeling to have, that you want peace. Can you imagine someone being so stressed that they are asking for peace, and then the mother is like, no? I mean, this is like invalidation at its core. And also, not only invalidation, but it also can be considered gaslighting. When she tells her, I cannot believe that you want that after all we've been through together. And like, she's, in my opinion, she's gaslighting her. She's telling her basically that your feeling is not correct. Your feeling is not real. That's gaslighting. So okay, two things: gaslighting and invalidation. Already we have them. Okay. Also, she does something which is provocation. It's a tactic to gain control and create chaos in her relationships by intentionally triggering Wendi's emotions and pushing her buttons. Donna is able to manipulate her and create a triangle of conflict between Donna, Wendi, and Dan. This triangulation can be very damaging to relationships, and it's a common tactic used by narcissists. Yeah, so she's constantly talking nasty about Dan. She's constantly putting more oil to the fire. Imagine being in a divorce battle, which is hard, very hard. Whether you're in the right or the wrong, we cannot deny that it's a hard thing to do in life. One of the hardest, maybe, especially when you have kids. And you are already hurt. You are already tired. And your mom is constantly reminding you of everything that the other person has done to hurt you, or everything that could not be intentionally done to hurt you, or it could be that she wasn't hurt. Maybe it could be that Donna is just saying these things to make her angry, sad, upset. That's what she's doing. She's provocating Wendi. She's triggering Wendi intentionally, consciously triggering her to make her more angry at Dan. In her mind, she's like, seriously? You want peace with him? Now you want peace with him? Nope, you're gonna fight for me. So, and okay, this is the other form of emotional manipulation. We said the provocation. So we have now provocation, we have gaslighting, and we have also invalidation. Now, the next thing in this emotional manipulation, the last thing in the emotional manipulation is the crocodile tears that she wept and got in Dan's funeral. The audacity to get these tears and go to Ruth Markel and tell her, we'll make sure they have roots. She is something, really. She is something. Okay, let's continue. So we have done emotional manipulation. Let's continue.
Jibbers hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet. Now this is all in caps. Take control from him. Get to him psychologically. He's going to want you to stop this. Parentheses. Only an idiot like him would write that he should be the only one consulted for making decisions regarding the health, education, and religion of his children. Clearly, no one, including you, is as smart as he is in those regards. This is done rather than allowing them to remain home with me. When I protested, he insisted. He always gets his way. There are no Hebrew day schools in Tallahassee. That's the whole point of relocation for you and the children. He can continue to attend all the meetings he wants to go to and then arrange for frequent and extended visitation with the boys. Maybe some of the money he spends on his trips can be used to visit the boys.
You see this? Do you see how she is creating a plan for Dan's life, telling it to Wendi? I mean, she's creating a plan for his life, and she really expects him to be like, that's what you want? Okay, I'll do it. Okay, cool. Sure. He's not a submissive guy. He's a very, very independent, intellectual, smart. What can I say more? I mean, and he's very into free speech, and he I don't know. Does she really expect him to submit to her? Really?
Just like it says on your necklace, never, never, never give up. It's time for action. It's time to take control of your life and not let Jibbers think he just won anything by having you remain in Tallahassee 8 hours away from the only family you have and lose out on what will be a job that will afford you and your children advantages that they will never otherwise be able to enjoy. Let's show this F dash what will make him absolutely miserable. Right now, he's got everything just the way he wants. We need to take from him in order for him to, quote, negotiate it back. Is offering not just taking them out of church, but negotiating a settlement, which could possibly offer both boys private education at the Donna Klein Hebrew Day School in Boca. It may include monthly airline tickets to South Florida for as long as he lives in Tallahassee. He may stop and think that if he can get a job in a city he'd prefer to live in, it would be an easy flight to see his children. He loves living in South Florida. Teaching at his current schedule and with a big chunk of money, he could live down here for the next 26 weeks per year that he teaches and fly 2 days a week to Tally. He would have frequent and liberal visitation. You're not looking to remove him from their lives. He needs to understand that. The negotiating lawyer will work with him. With his school teaching schedule, he could see his children here a significant amount of time. His child support would be much less also. The attorney who will be doing the negotiating will also lay it out on the line for him what the various payment offers would be worth to him in 15 to 18 years when he may want to retire. The amount is huge. This payoff can put him at that point, parentheses, without any additional income of his own, end parentheses, in the $4 million range. Certainly nothing he'd ever save in 10 lifetimes.
Okay. Let's see, what is this? So, this is power struggle. This is power struggle, yes. So we need to remember something, that all narcissists crave control, crave power. They that's their food. That's their food for their ego to be able to continue life. So Donna never expected for Wendi to marry such a person, or maybe she was at first happy with that, of course, because of the prestige and everything. But then, oh, he has a brain. He talks. I mean, he has morals. He has values. What? He's strict. He eats only kosher. No. She doesn't want him anymore. She nags on Wendi all the time, probably. Let her move out, divorce, whatever. And I don't think she expected to lose control over Wendi. But she did at a certain point. And she wanted that back. So she has a lot of power struggle with Dan, especially that he is very much in power of his own family, and she does not like that. Only an idiot like him would say, she said that, only an idiot like him would say he's the only one in charge of the boys' education, health, and religion, and ta. So, yeah, she could not accept this idea. She could not get across this idea that Dan was in charge of everything and was replacing her position in Wendi's life, in my opinion. So she created a plan for him. She created a plan for his visitations, for his tickets, how much he's gonna pay here, how much he's gonna get here, how much he's gonna, for everything, very detailed plan for him, and she wants him to accept this plan. Honestly, what a tyrant, really. She is a tyrant. That's what I have to say about her. Not only power struggle. It's she wants to dictate everybody's life around her. And I know these people. I know them. There are people like that in life, yes, that they want to dictate every person's life around them because they think they are, smarter, and that's the way things should be, obviously. And so Donna, when she's saying to Wendi, just like on your necklace, it's a combination. I want to get back to this, okay? Because it's important.
Yeah, everything he does is done with malicious intent. Why can't you do this for a few days? You know him. You know which butt. Now this is all in caps. Take control from him. Get to him psychologically. He's going to want you to stop this. Parentheses. Only an idiot like him would write that he should be the only one consulted for making decisions regarding the health, education, and religion of his children. Clearly, no one, including you, is as smart as he is in those regards. This is done rather than allowing them to remain home with me. When I protested, he insisted. He always gets his way. There are no Hebrew day schools in Tallahassee. That's the whole point of relocation for you and the children. He can continue to attend all the meetings he wants to go to and then arrange for frequent and extended visitation with the boys. Maybe some of the money he spends on his trips can be used to visit the boys. Just like it says on your necklace, never, never, never give up. It's time for action. It's time to take control of your life and not let Jibbers think he just won anything by having you remain in Tallahassee 8 hours away from the only family you have and lose out on what will be a job that will afford you and your children advantages that they will never otherwise be able to enjoy. Let's show this F dash what will make him absolutely miserable. Right now, he's got everything just the way he wants. We need to take...
Let's show this F how we can make his life miserable. Okay, I think this sentence is very important because it's a combination between provoking and between power struggle. because I think she feels disempowered with her interaction with Dan, okay, who is a very strong individual and tends to get his way, as she says. He always gets his way. In response to this power dynamic, she is the result of this power dynamic is that she is provoking Wendi against Dan. That's what's going on over here, and she's provoking her to make him miserable. That's what she wants, actually. But okay, and so this was the power struggle. Before we continue to the next trait, I just want you to put this in your mind, this particular sentence that we just talked about, which is, let's show him how he can be miserable. Because it's not only provocation, it's not only provocation, and it's not only I'm sorry, power struggle. It's also something that we're going to talk about now, this trait, this coming trait, which is, let's continue, okay?
Especially when one believes that because he attended Harvard undergrad and Harvard Law, he's clearly better and smarter than anyone else, including you.
Okay, so first clip, she's saying because he attended Harvard, he thinks he's better than everybody else, including you. She clearly has a problem with Harvard. She clearly has a really big problem with Harvard. But anyway, in Ruth's book, she says, and he asked us, not as she's saying about Dan, asked them, and he asked us not to mention that he went to Harvard at the various parties we were about to attend prior to the wedding. Why? We asked. Dan said he did something. But this was interesting for me. Dan asked them not to mention Harvard. Imagine. I mean, I would imagine this would be a good thing for someone, you know, but she was just. So what is this? What do you call this? When someone is so angry with someone else's success, because you know Harvard means success, you know, even per her own definition of success. That's how she ranks people. That's her own standard. We're saying that by her own, because according to her, the lawyer that graduated from FSU and that lived in Tallahassee wouldn't understand how life it is in Miami, while you, Wendi, So that's how she ranks people. So if that's how you rank people, and Dan is a Harvard graduate, then you must be very frustrated about that, yeah? Because he's much more above everyone else. So this is called malicious envy. Here we go. So what is malicious envy? It's when someone desires for someone else to fail or suffer, usually motivated by their own feelings of inadequacy or insecurity. And then she says, let's show him how we can make him miserable. I mean, I think this is self-explanatory at this point. I don't have to explain this. It's just like the sun. Very clear. She wants to make him miserable. She desires that he fails and suffer. And in the same sentence of saying that, she said about Harvard. So I think it's clear that they are related to each other. She wants him to be miserable because she has so much insecurities. And the proof of that is that Dan told his parents, not to mention Harvard. Imagine, like, are you that, how do you say this? Like, so easy to break? How can this bother you? I don't know. Like, how can, I just don't understand why would this bother you? For him, I don't know. It's weird for me.
We believe that Gibbers will be saying, "Stop this." And you'll be telling him, "You wanted me in Tallahassee. My children are going to, quote, fit in this Bible Belt. They're going to church every time I have them. I'm having them privately tutored at home to get them caught up for the Sunday school classes that I've registered them in for the fall. The class time coincides with the service. Tell him that you've got a new outlook on life and a new, quote, hope, and you'd like to go to, quote, heaven. Perhaps he would like to join you and the boys at church." Plan of action. Number 1, take photo of boys, parentheses, dressed nicely, end parents, standing at the front door by the sign of a Tallahassee church. Then change your Facebook status photo to this one so everyone will see this. Under the, quote, "new beginnings in Tallahassee," unquote, might be nice. Within minutes, Gibber should either see this or will be getting calls from his friends/acquaintances about this. How happy do you think he will be? Number 2, make arrangements to get the boys, quote, caught up with a private tutor, parentheses, teenage Catholic church member, end parents, who will come to the house to teach the young men about Jesus, parentheses. If you don't have time to arrange for this to happen, I will gladly do it. I will happily do it for you, end parents. He or she will serve as a good, quote, babysitter assistant, unquote, for you while you're preparing dinner, etc. Smiley face. Number 3, let Gibbers know that your children will be baptized in the Catholic Church, and you'll certainly invite him to the event. Let him know that the Catholic Church is a big part of your life now with the boys, and you'd like him to be a part of it. As long as he wants you to remain in Tallahassee, the boys will be involved with you in church-related activities and ceremonies. Let him get used to it. I've already checked this out, and a baptism can be arranged within 2 weeks. We can send out evites to Gibbers, his parents, sister, and anyone else you want to invite. Number 4, I'm looking into summer camp programs for the boys. We will pay for it, even if the boys end up going only the few days that they're in Tallahassee on the days you have them prior to the hearing. Number 5, register them for toddler classes at church. I've looked into this, and even if they don't go, we can show Gibbers that they are enrolled for the fall semester. And you cannot tell anyone this is an act. Somehow it will get back to Gibbers.
Okay, in my opinion, this is spiritual abuse or religious coercion. It's when someone uses religion or spirituality as a way to control or manipulate someone else in a relationship. And Donna knew how Judaism was important to Dan, so she used it. She used this knowledge to make him piss him off, and to get what she wants, to manipulate, and actually to abuse him. To be honest, to abuse him, because I mean this is abuse in my opinion. And not only that, it was not just like, okay, a thought that crossed her mind. No, she planned for everything. She had a detailed plan. She literally said plan of action, parentheses, and started bullet pointing them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. Details. What are our kids gonna wear? Caption. What's gonna be the caption? What's gonna be the... And you see what I'm saying? You see how this is related to Machiavellianism? A strategic way of... It's getting out of her way to make all of this strategy, a plan. She wants to baptize the kids, and she's not kidding about it. She's not. She already talked to people, and it can be arranged in 2 weeks. I mean, I have to say, credit should be given when credit is necessary. I think Donna would be a great project manager. Really. She would be a great project manager, or something related to, making a plan, executing the plan. And I mean, she might not deliver the best results, of course not, but yeah, she enjoys planning, either planning Dan's life, Wendy's life, Charlie's life, and also this. So that's what I'm saying. It's not just not caring about morals, it's going out of your way to plan the strategic to gain control. She made a plan of action, a detailed one. And okay, I said everything I want to say about this. Let's continue and go to the other trait.
Another bribe to get him to allow relocation should be the offer of plane tickets, since he does have family that would allow him to use their homes to stay in. But obviously, that's a last-ditch effort if all else fails. We plan to make a financial offer to him to allow this relocation. You need to work this plan, and we'll help you through it. Maybe he'd be willing to let you relocate if he knew his children would attend a private Hebrew academy like Donna Klein and Boca. Or perhaps he'd I don't think you realize the type of offer we're considering. We're planning on you, Charlie, and Dad and I going as high as equal parts in a $1 million offer. That's $333K from each of us. Obviously, the more chits on our side, the better our chances are that we won't have to go that high. You have to show us that you're doing your part in this too. We're a team. We can't do this without your help.
Hi Rita, hi Fancy, thank you so much. Thank you for watching and for commenting and for always supporting me. This community is really amazing. I love it. Every creator and every all people that watch and follow this case is just, I like this community so much. So the next one, which is which the clips that I just showed were transactional behavior, in my opinion, or transactional manipulation, which is the bribing. Not only once, many times she tried to bribe Dan to reload for her to allow him to relocate. And in my opinion, at this point, she used all of her cards. She had nothing else to lose. She was willing to give him $1 million so he would allow the relocation. Who does that? Just tell me who does that. What kind of a person does that? And let me ask you this. Is there anyone in life that would be like, yes, okay, I will take the $1 million. You go with my kids. She thinks, I really have nothing to say anymore, because how does she think that someone like Dan Markel would accept such an offer? Really, she's delusional. She's not in this planet that we live in. So let's continue now.
Those trips need to be coordinated with a very angry man who will not be cooperative with you in this regard. For example, this past weekend, you had your annual conference for blank. At the same time, his regular NYU crap was taking place. He didn't say, I go to NYU every month and this is your annual meeting. I'll stay with the children and you go. Of course not. Danny thinks he's a very important person, and as always, he and his needs come first. However, a hot temper and verbal abuse is what you need to emphasize that you suffered under his, quote, reign. Narcissistic personality disorder causes major problems in a marriage, especially.
So I think this one is really easy, in my opinion. Okay? This is, in my opinion, projection. So, when Donna says that Dan is the angry man and that his needs are always has to come first, I think she's projecting her own behavior onto him. And we have kind of an evidence of how Donna was during the marriage and the divorce, because Dan filed many motions to the court, the divorce court, saying or requesting that Donna not staying with the kids unsupervised, because he knew what kind of a hateful woman she is. He did not want her to be around his kids. And she's accusing him of narcissistic personality disorder. Really? Also, she's saying, at first she was saying, these has to be coordinated with a very angry man. I don't see anyone angrier, more hateful than Donna. Honestly, when she's talking like this about him, it feels to me that she's looking in the mirror and talking to her about herself, just putting Dan's words. So let's continue.
We don't want Danny to continue his religious influence over these children any more than what he's already done. If he keeps this up, and they won't want to eat in your non-kosher home, and if they see you don't want to attend their shul functions, you will be the outsider. As they get older, more involved under Gibber's religious influence, they will be able to request which parent they want to live with. Don't allow Gibbers to have this power and control over them. Then in reality, he's going to have the same control over you. Gibbers has an organized plan that he's been doing pretty much since they were born. Shul, shul, shul. Shul every Saturday morning that he has them. Shul for every Sunday that he has them. Shul for every holiday. Shul parties. Shul, shul, shul. That will be their life. We don't want you to be the, quote, outsider, unquote, who doesn't join in what the, quote, rest of the family, unquote, is doing. Wendi, you don't manipulate people. You're a sweet, kind, caring person. Gibbers is a manipulator.
Okay. I mean, this contains also so much traits, but one trait that just popped into my mind is projection. Wendi, you don't manipulate people. Dan is a manipulator. And literally in the same sentence, between two punctuations, she's manipulating. And she's not only manipulating Wendi, she's manipulating Wendi so Wendi can manipulate Dan. So imagine the mental stress or the mental energy that Donna does every day, because not only she has to manipulate Dan, she has to manipulate Wendi so she can manipulate Dan, and she has to manipulate Charlie so he can get rid of Dan, and she has to manipulate Dan, you know. And in my opinion, this trait is called the secret coercion. And what is the secret coercion? Okay. So in my opinion, she is indirectly or secretly or indirectly trying to coerce Wendi into doing something with her, to be defensive or to be more manipulative over Dan. And in my opinion, she's doing that by scaring her that she will be one day the intruder. One day you will be the intruder. One day he will take the children from you and they're not gonna say hi to you anymore just because you eat non-kosher and they eat kosher. That's how does she get these ideas? I just want to know, how does she produce these kind of ideas? So this is, in my opinion, secret coercion, because it's indirectly trying to make Wendi fearful of Dan, so she will make something, she will take action towards him. She wants her to be afraid of him, so she attacks him or something. The next thing that led me to think about secret coercion is actually not only Wendi, it's her relationship, Donna's relationship with Charlie. Right after the bump, we hear Charlie talking to Donna on the phone and consoling her, telling her it's okay, it's gonna be okay. It's something in the lines of like, I took care of the situation, or something like, telling her basically not to worry about the bump that happened, this guy that approached her, and she has nothing to be worried about. They called them, but no one answered. Like, he's trying to show her that everything is under control and everything is okay. You don't have to worry about anything. And this kind of tells me that she asked him to do this, whether directly or indirectly, but she asked him to do this. She either directly or put the idea in his head, with maybe her nagging all the time about how miserable she is because of this Dan. I mean, imagine, okay, the emails that she sends to Wendi. Now imagine with how much Charlie and Donna talks on the phone, much more than Wendi and Donna talks on the phone. We know that as a fact. They're always together on the phone, Donna and Charlie. So imagine with this amount of chatting and talking together all the time on the phone, and the mental stress that she's having because of Dan, and like she's obsessed with her hatred towards Dan. Actually, that's a line in Ruth Markel's book. She was obsessed with hatred towards Dan, really. And it was her full-time job. I'm sure it was her full-time job. Dan Markel was her full-time job. And imagine how she would talk about Dan in front of Charlie. What scenarios she would talk about Dan in front of Charlie? What would she say? I think she secretly coerced him to do that. And I'm not defending Charlie at all. He is an adult. He has a brain. He has a mind. He's not... If he was under 18, I would say yes, but he is not. He's an adult, and he should know better. But I think she secretly coerced him. Let me see if I have missed something over here. Okay. So Charlie, of course, desperately wants her to be happy all the time, and he wants to prove for her all of his life that he can do a lot for her, and he wants to keep her reassured. And in this case, she's using covert tactics to pressure and control him into doing something illegal. Maybe she's nagging, maybe she's making her, like, she's talking about how miserable she is. So yeah, so this was secret coercion. Let's continue.
Your
to the
mother
next
worked
trait.
full-time in a family's dental practice until September, when she felt she was needed by you for the well-being of the children. Your father has made numerous trips by plane for weekends and changing the patient's schedules around so that he can continue to spend significant time with the children. Both the disappearance of your mother from the position of office manager and the disappearance of your father from the practice for a significant amount of time has caused a decrease in the practice income and the loss of some patients who feel that it's either not being run the same way as when my mother was there full time, or that my father is unable to see patients with problems and has referred them to other offices during his absences. Additionally, this loss of income affects my family because my older brother, also a dentist, purchased a practice for my father in mid-July 2012. He has a monthly payment to make to my father based on the sale of the practice. It isn't fair to him to have decreasing monthly income statements from the practice due to my parents spending so much time here in Tallahassee. You have borrowed a considerable amount of money from your parents and must repay it for furniture, legal fees, moving expenses, etc. My parents have paid all grocery bills up to this point, for which I will also have to reimburse them. Dad and I have changed our lives this year to support and assist you and the boys in every possible way. Charlie has accepted the loss in the office business income for us to do this because he loves you and wants. You got into this mess with gibbers by being so compliant with non-confrontational and non-confrontational with him. If you just keep paying your attorney her $600 per hour and don't fight for what you want, you're no better off than if you stayed married to him. Sure, you got rid of being unhappy in a marriage, so you don't have to live under the same roof.
Sure, yes, you did what you want, you divorced, but that's not what I want. I want you to be next to me. I don't want you to be in Tallahassee. That's not enough.
Still be, quote, in control of everything, including what he wanted, sole control of the boys' religious lives. Why let him? It's time for you to show us that you can put on the performance of your life for the next few weeks. Please.
Okay, this is, in my opinion, is, I mean, it's obvious, right? It's guilt tripping. It's pure guilt tripping all the time. She's guilt tripping her, how much groceries, how much they had to pay for her, how much tickets they had to pay, the dental practice lost, the Charlie had to suffer, and I mean, she's basically saying that the whole family's sanity is depending on you, Wendi. Whether you relocate or not, whether you fight or not relocate, whether you fight or not. And she is like kind of shaming her, like, if you got yourself in this because you were too compliant. She's shaming her, guilt tripping her. The family dental Fancy is saying the family dental practice is losing income because I'm a helpless adult woman. Who gives a crap, Donna? The entitlement of these people is outstanding. Yes, the entitlement is really scary. It's really scary. This email is the real Donna. Yes, Donna needs real hobbies of her own. She does. She does need hobbies. She does. Solitaire. Maybe. Soon. Okay, let's continue to the next one.
That the only reason you left when he was out of town is because of the threat, quote, you'll leave without your children, without a penny, and just the clothes on your back, unquote. It's super important for the judge to get the message that this guy is a big bully. He says, you did this while he was on a short business trip. How about his many trips to conferences, etc.? How about how many trips to conferences, etc. this man has taken? How much time away from his family? You have all those documented. Now you need to sit down and figure out how many days away that's been. How about adding to all that his 2-week trips to Israel, especially when you were at the end of your pregnancy? Sweet, caring, concerned husband.
So this one is interesting for me because it's, in my opinion, deflection. This trait is deflection. And what is deflection? It is, so narcissists tend to deflect conversations away from themselves by accusing others or making false accusations. So as to Donna, she was justifying Wendi behavior by going out, just leaving him by himself, took the kids, took the boys with her, left the house with no furniture, nothing, ta 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 ta. She did this because she had to, because he was verbally abusive, and he threatened her that he will take away her. She would be left without any penny. So what she's doing essentially here is she is rationalizing Wendy's behavior by creating a logical reason for her daughter to do this. A logical reason for her. I mean, logically, if someone is really threatening me for real, like for real threatening me, I'm gonna be probably scared, and yes, I'll do what she did. But I mean, he did not hire a hitman, you know. And we all hear about that. I don't. This is just my opinion, but I'm not convinced that he threatened her. I'm not. They were in counseling at that time when she left. He begged her on the phone not to leave. She left anyways. Is this an attitude of someone that would attack or do something bad to her? I mean, he begged her to stay, and he was going to counseling with her. And so yeah. So also she's comparing between so he said, I think she said she's comparing between the work trips that he made a lot with her work trip or something, with her leaving or something. And I don't think we can compare these two, because it does not make sense to compare them. I mean, Dan Markel's work trips were planned in advance, with the whole family knowing about them, aware about them. But Wendi leaving with the boys like that is something very sudden. It's something very traumatic for the dad and the sons. And for the sons, much more than the dad. Once again, whether Donna or Wendi, in my opinion, just remove the presence of the boys from consideration when taking decisions. She never thought about the kids. So the kids knew that they were leaving without telling Dan. I bet you that they knew. Kids know everything. They understand everything. Why would we leave our dad like that? How would they I don't know, how were they feeling on the way when they were going from the house with everything packed and just like that, without telling their dad they're going away secretly? I don't know. But she is now justifying it, deflecting, justifying it. She would never take accountability for anything. She would turn it on you. Let's continue.
Know that. However, Jibbers has made his divorce. If only an idiot like him would write that he should be the only one consulted for making decisions regarding the health. According to Jibbers, the relocation must show that the current arrangement for Mr. Markel has become a religious zealot. This bastard has not paid with no support from Jibbers. Jibbers hasn't beaten the Adelson family yet. We can send out Evites to Jibbers. So we can show Jibbers that they are enrolled for the fall semester. Try to make a financial offer to Jibbers too, because Jibbers only had FSU as a job offer. Because Jibbers has certainly ruined Judaism for you. And okay, Jibbers can have all the Jewish holidays. Why not stand up to this fucker that Jibbers is already teaching the boys is nothing more than a brain, with the only religious influence over them being Jibber. Something has to be done with this asshole.
I think this one is obvious too. I mean, I love this one. I'm sorry. It's heartbreaking. Of course, it's heartbreaking. But this is verbal abuse. And she accuses him of being verbally abusive. Oh my God, seriously? How many times she said gibbers, bastard, and just awful, awful human being. Seriously. Okay. So, okay, this is the next trait. Dan heard from the boys that Donna had been talking badly about him and that she had been feeding them bacon and shrimp. In addition, Dan heard from the daycare center that Donna told the daycare to give the boys regular hot dogs. The audacity this woman has, really. So, what do you think this is? This is, in my opinion, parental alienation. Parental alienation is when one parent uses tactics such as manipulation, gaslighting, or brainwashing to turn their children against the other parent. And in this case, it's not Wendi that's doing that. It's, yeah, yeah. Fancy is saying, Wendi says gibbers is not a derogatory term for Danny. Smile, blink, tilt head as if confused at question. Yes, and she doesn't remember also how to spell it. She wouldn't know. How would she know? How would she spell it? Maybe she wrote this was his name on her phone. God. So in this case, it wasn't Wendy that's doing that. It was Donna that's doing that, actually. Donna was trying to feed the children toxic ideas about their father. She was trying to make them hate him, or not hate him, but like, you know, disgusting. And the last one is lack of empathy. Lack of empathy, I chose to talk about it now just because okay, lack of empathy. I felt that there's no need to put together clips about lack of empathy because the core of this case, which is Donna taking a conscious decision to make her grandsons orphans at this age, 3 and 1, despite saying she shares great affection with them. And they would be academically amazing if they were close to her because she's an elementary teacher, you know. Really, she took the decision to make them orphans. And this tells me, that, for me, this is enough to tell me how much of a lack of empathy she has. The only victims other than Dan in this whole thing is her grandsons that she shares great affection with. This was the lack of empathy. And in the light of everything we discussed and said already in the live stream, I think it's safe to say that psychopathy is like the very least a possibility given the significant lack of empathy that she shows. I mean, I don't want to call it lack of empathy even. I want to call it zero empathy. Like, just a second. Okay, I'm sorry. I had to attend to something very important. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm good now. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to even call it lack of empathy. I can deficit of empathy deficit. I don't know. Like, I don't think she knows what this feeling like, to be honest. So we have finished the bingo card of narcissism. We have finished the Dark Triad, which is Machiavellianism. We talked about extensively in the beginning. The narcissism, we did the bingo card, and the psychopathy, we said, it's obvious now. Let's see the next graph that I made. Oh, this is... It's not until the email is psychoanalyzed you can see how terrible she really is. That's right. That's right. Okay, so let's see this mind map that I made. Donna in the middle, we have her. She has grandiosity, which grandiosity, in my opinion, has these traits in them, which is deflection, transactional behavior, and intellectual superiority. I think they stem these behaviors from the grandiosity. I think the grandiosity is like the bigger, circle, and these are coming from the grandiosity. But they're all traits. Then we see that she has lack of empathy, obviously. And then she has enmeshment, which we talked about, the first thing we talked about actually. Power struggle, of course, and malicious envy. All of these together, when they are together with Donna, they make verbal abuse, emotional manipulation, spiritual abuse, guilt tripping, secret coercion, projection, and parental alienation. I think it's safe to say that's how I see it. She has already grandiosity, and she has already lack of empathy. She has already enmeshment, and then, so she had already these first three, grandiosity, lack of empathy, enmeshment, before then. And then after that, she suffered from power struggle from Dan. This led her to have malicious envy. Malicious envy and power struggle, when meshed together, they made provocation. They made her provoking Wendi to fight Dan with all she has. It's made secret coercion. It's made guilt tripping, spiritual abuse, emotional manipulation, verbal abuse, and parental alienation. This mix made that. And this mix eventually made that, which is, we see her in the Dark Triad now: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. And that's how I discovered that she is, I don't know how you call it, like if she exhibits Dark Triad traits. That's how I would say it. And so I wrote something at the end that I wanted to say, that Dan Markel was fighting with all he had to keep her away from the kids. When prosecution asked Wendi about that, about the motion that Dan filed before, Wendi said she doesn't recall or something. And then she asked her, did you take it seriously? I did not take it seriously. Did your mom take it seriously? I don't think so. Did you see how serious this is? Dan took it seriously. He filed a motion for it, to keep this woman away from his kids. Because he knows how bad she is. He knows how hateful, how just bad of a human being she is. He did not want her with his kids unsupervised. And that's not a selfish reason from him. That's the reality of the thing. He's a smart man and he knew exactly what he's dealing with. He was dealing with the Dark Triad. And Dan is not here anymore to fight for his kids' mental health. But we are here. And we will do that. Always. Seriously. We will. Against Donna Edelson and everyone that's like Donna Edelson. I hope you liked this live stream. As I said in the first, I was very, as I said at the first, that that's basically my first live stream that people are actually watching, and that I actually have subscribers and viewers, and because the first live stream I made, I didn't have so much. So it was much easier for me to do it because I knew that it was 0 views and I can delete it after that. But with this one, I was a little bit anxious. I'm a little bit anxious, but it's okay. I think with practice, it's going to be better. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Fancy. Thank you, Go Georgia, for commenting and for being here, and everyone for being here and for watching. And don't forget to subscribe, comment, and like if you want to. See you in the next video or the next stream. Let me know if you have any ideas that you would like to, any cases, any ideas that would like to know about. And good night.